What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers, hopefully Ravens fans, Engraven watchers and subscribers. How y'all doing out there? Welcome into another episode of the Just Chillin podcast. I got right here with me, as you can see, Team Keep It Clean, Engraven, the Ravens flock leader himself. How you doing, Engraven?
I'm good. Appreciate you having me on. How you doing?
No problem, man. Like I was saying right before we started, I'm doing fine. As a Giants fan, I wish I could be better. Especially coming off that Browns loss. The way we looked, things could have been a lot better, man. Before we get into anything else, first and foremost, I want to say happy holidays, everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody in here. Thank you for tuning in. Merry Christmas. Any other things that you celebrate. Hanukkah. Hope you guys are having a good one. And then Engraven, I gotta ask you, man, any interesting plans for Christmas?
Nah, it's just a regular day for me. We work 24/7. Well, we don't work 24/7. We work 7 days a week. So yeah, it's just a normal day for me. I'm glad my son does have off from school though. That's nice. So I don't gotta wake up early for that. But just a normal day, chilling, relaxing, watching them. Who plays tomorrow?
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Who's in the Saints? I think. I
Saints
think it's Vikings and Saints tomorrow. Then No. When do Packers play the Titans?
I'm pulling up the Packers schedule right now.
I think it is Vikings Saints tomorrow. Then Packers and Titans on Saturday.
Sunday night is Packers Titans.
Really?
Who's Saturday night? Who in the world is Saturday night?
I
Saturday night
all
football.
kinds of messed up.
Saturday night football. Wow, nothing even It's Dolphins and Raiders.
Yeah. That's the one. That's the one that us Ravens fans gonna be watching extra close because we're gonna be rooting for the Raiders to take care of business.
Because the Dolphins this year, man, they're coming in real strong. They're right around the same win record as you guys are, right?
Yeah.
9-5 Dolphins. Ravens, I think, are also all at 9-5. Definitely duking it out there for the AFC North. Gotta ask you, man, how you feeling about the Ravens right now?
I feel good. It's crazy because if you would have asked me like a month ago, the answer would have been very different. But now we ask my biggest concern for the Ravens right now is just them getting in. And them getting healthy too, because I know Marcus Peters, he's been banged up. Jimmy Smith, he's banged up.
Yeah, the injury report today, I haven't checked it since, but there was 9 guys that were on the injury report, did not practice. Did that improve for you guys at all? Let me pull it up, actually.
Some of them came back in a limited basis. But I mean, the real story will be told tomorrow, because usually Friday is the day where if you practice on Friday, you're straight, you should be able to play. But if you don't practice on Friday, then it's usually a no-go. But yeah, that's the biggest thing right now is just the if the Ravens can get in, but also if they can get healthy too. So that's something really important, especially if you want to make a nice little run.
What's the path to the playoffs of the Ravens right now? What do you guys have to do, and what else has to happen in the league?
Well, Ravens just take care of their own business, win out. If the Dolphins lose against the Raiders, then that would give us their spot. If the Colts lose against the Steelers, and this is all contingent on the Ravens winning out as well. But if the Dolphins lose to the Raiders, we would get their spot. If the Colts lose to the Steelers, then we would move up. There we would take the Colts spot. And those are two biggest things right now. Also with the Browns, if they, because what are the Browns? I think 10-4. I want to say.
Yeah, they're 10-1 now.
So yeah, with them, if they lost their last 2 games and Ravens won the last 2, we could flip flop. But they do play the Jets and the Steelers, so expecting them to beat the Jets. I wouldn't be mad if the Jets pulled another victory out, but so yeah, if we could like get a better, or even if we could get the same record at the end of the season as the Browns, then we would have the higher seed because we swept them.
How you feeling about the Steelers right now? I feel like every NFL fan that wasn't a Steelers fan when they were on that 11-0 stretch was saying, respect to them because it's 11-0, but we're looking at the schedule, man, and it's like, it's kind of an easy schedule considering who the Steelers are. But what do you think as an AFC North fan? You're out there with the Ravens. What do you think about the Steelers this year?
I mean, with Pittsburgh, and really the AFC North as a whole, the schedule is it is easier. It's still NFL teams, NFL games, and nobody from the AFC North makes the schedule. They just got to play who's on their schedule. But with the Steelers, they were 11-0. Oh, and you had to give them credit for that because they could have been 10-1, they could have been 9-2, they could have had so many other records, but they won all of their games. Now, granted, there was a little bit of funny business in there with the refs and a little bit and whatnot, but and there were some games that could have went either way. There was some overtime, some real close calls in a lot of those games, but bottom line, Steelers they were getting it done, but they were shaky 11-0, but still, again, they were 11-0, whether they were shaky or not. But now a lot of the stuff that where a lot of their points where they were shaky at, it really got exposed. And teams, they're taking advantage of it.
Dropping 3 straight, right?
Mm-hmm. So all the Steelers' problems, they starting to come back to bite them.
Mm-hmm. So I gotta ask you. We spoke before the season even began, and I think I might have told you then. I'm thinking Big Ben is a little old now. He didn't show that really in the first part of the season, but now he's starting to look a bit like he might need to hang it up. I don't know. I'm not asking you as a Ravens fan. I'm just asking you as a football. Somebody that watches football. What's Big Ben looking like to you?
You can tell. There's certain positions where it's a slow decrease, and usually with quarterback, it's usually a slow decrease, and when you can tell it's getting to be that time. I don't think he's all the way there yet. What's up, Joel? I don't think he's all the way there yet, but he's definitely getting close to where it's like, okay, Ben, it may be that time. I did read a few days ago that, and he did say he's coming back next year, so that's a little scary. If I'm a Steelers fan, I'm like, hey, yeah, we got Ben Roethlisberger. You got 2 Super Bowls, veteran guy, da-da-da. But at the same time, I'm a little scared. I would be a little bit scared and a little bit worried, like, man, like, oh, is Ben Roethlisberger going to be an asset or is he going to hinder our performance? So I would be worried about that if I'm a Pittsburgh fan. But he's getting there. He still got something left for sure, but it's just not really looking like it's that much. And that was even during the whole 11-0 as well, when they were still undefeated. When they were riding high, he was still shaky. But one thing that I do wonder is if a change at offensive coordinator could make a big difference for the Steelers. And that would really show if it's Ben or if it's them. I mean, Ben, his biggest struggle, I think, this year has been with the deep ball. He has been struggling with the deep ball. It's been inconsistent.
And also, I do want to say, even though I'm the one that brought up Ben looks a bit older now, I do want to say he has had a lot of drop balls, man. Receivers, tight ends in general, they just cannot catch for him.
That's true. That's a really good point. And that doesn't help anybody out. And that can take away a lot from all right. Thank you for bringing that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have been dropping a lot of passes this season, a whole lot of passes this season. When you mix in that too, it's not all Ben. I do think it's a mix of the offensive coordinator too. I think his name Randy Fitchner or Fitner. I forget what his name is, but I wonder if a fresh start could sort of not necessarily rejuvenate him, but just have him go out looking a lot better than he has been this year.
Mm-hmm. And I see Edward Chan saying, for the Ravens YouTuber, get ready to destroy us. Let's get right into it, INGRAVEN. Before we get into the actual game, you cover general NFL every now and then, of course, mainly Ravens YouTuber. But from what you've seen from the Giants this year, what do you think about the New York Giants and what they're doing?
I don't even know, man. I definitely had my eyes locked in on that Giants and Browns game, and I know it wasn't Jason Garrett running the show on offense, and then even with Colt McCoy, he was a quarterback. I felt like with the Giants, it just really based off of that game, just a lot of it was some questionable decision making. But again, that was Freddie Kitchens, that wasn't Jason Garrett. So with the Giants, they're in a good division for their situation. I would say that because new coach, really knew everything. I mean, minus Daniel Jones, and I did read that I think he was limited in practice today. So we'll see if he ends up playing this Sunday or not, or they're gonna go with Colt McCoy. But with the Giants, they are in a really good division for their situation. Really, all 4 of the teams, because all 4 teams have just.
Washington is pretty much in the same situation as well with Ron Rivera, their coaching staff and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. This and Mike McCarthy too.
Mm-hmm.
With the Cowboys and Eagles, they probably getting ready to be in a new situation, but we'll see, man.
I'm still surprised. I said it in my Discord today. I'm like, yeah, I still can't believe that Carson got benched for Hurts. But even more than that, I can't believe Jalen Hurts is actually performing better than I expected. I don't know if anybody really had the Hurts hype like that other than Eagles fans.
Well, yeah, he's been doing this thing, man. So that's his job, man. With Carson Wentz, I don't know what they're gonna do with him. I know he
With
said,
that contract,
yeah, that's the biggest part. That's the biggest part, man. Because he
and
said he wants to stay, but
yeah, it really brings up the question, like, how soon is too soon to sign your quarterback? Because when the Eagles did give him that extension, they were like, for sure, he's going to be top 5 quarterback for the next, over the next 5 years that his contract is in. And by the way, shots, everybody knew that tuned in. Xenon, Jones, Karen Ball, Lake Nona. Thank you all for tuning in here. The reason I bring that up is because, of course, Lamar is going to, at some point, gonna need his contract extension and whatnot. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it does make you question, like, man, quarterbacks could really just go from here to here in the NFL, right? Like, when do you want to sign Lamar? Not when do you think he's gonna get extended, but when would you prefer him to be?
the perfect scenario that I would envision for Lamar Jackson signing a contract extension would be after this year. And what I would love to happen would be that the Ravens were forced to sign Lamar after this year. And the only way that they would really be forced to sign Lamar after this year would be if he won a Super Bowl. So then that would sort of force their hand, just like with Patrick Mahomes in the Chiefs, to where they really didn't they had no choice but to. I mean, they technically could have waited, but no, you need to get that done. And with them getting it done, that allowed them to beat the market, because quarterbacks, they go for market value. But if they didn't win the Super Bowl, I don't know, because with the Ravens, it's
And
very
Engraven, I'm glad you bring that up, because I don't know if you remember when I had you on before the season. I said, in my opinion, the Ravens' goal this year should be to win a Super Bowl.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So how do you feel considering where you guys are now, and you definitely still have a chance to make the playoffs? I'm not saying that that's gone, but how do you feel now when at the beginning of the season you were thinking to yourself, man, this is a Super Bowl contending team right here?
There had been a lot of inconsistencies with the Ravens. There had been a bit of underachieving, just coming up short, and that's why they find themselves in the situation that they're in right now on the outside looking in. But I think right now, like I said, as long as they can get in, I feel fine about them, because their offense is really starting to get it going right now. Their defense, they've been up and down, but the offense is really starting to get it going. And the offense was probably every Ravens fan's one of their biggest concerns. But it's one of the reasons I say the Ravens are so tricky in this situation is because they invested so much money into the defense, and they do it every single year, but specifically this year they invested so much money into the defense, but the defense, they haven't been performing. They haven't been this great, amazing defense. They've been good. They had some times where it's been rough too, and even when they may not give up many points, sometimes you still see these little struggles. To where with the cornerbacks, they may be playing like 50 yards off the receivers and giving the receivers all this underneath space and whatnot. And just the pass rush has been a little shaky. With Yannick Ngakoue, he's been getting good pressure. He just hasn't been finishing, but pressure is like almost just important as a sack, because pressure can force a quarterback to throw the ball a little bit early. It can mess up the timing of a route. It can do a lot of things, but I think as Ravens fans, we just expected a lot more from the defense as a whole, and it's been a lot of up and down. But with the offense clicking the way that they've been clicking, it is very encouraging to see, especially as we are 2 weeks away from playoffs. And like I said, hopefully, just as long as the Ravens get in, then I think we should definitely be one of the contenders, man.
For sure. And you were saying the offense was your concern coming into the year. The offense for the Ravens this year, I think it's been right now, it's within the top 5 overall, especially when you consider the rushing offense and whatnot, doing pretty well for themselves. I mean, scoring 42 on the Jags head, even though it is the Jaguars, is still scoring 42 on an NFL team. So definitely something to be happy about. On the Giants side of things, it was kind of the opposite. We were all confident in the offense coming into this year. We were so sketchy about the defense. Like, is the Blake Martinez signing going to work out? Is Leonard Williams going to perform on his franchise? Is James Bradbury going to come out and be a really good corner for us? And Patrick Graham, who we really didn't have a big sample size of back in Miami, is he going to be a good defensive coordinator? And it's the exact opposite. Our offense is struggling bad the entire year, and the defense has been one of the better defenses in the NFL the entire year because of those three guys I mentioned and because of Patrick Graham. I'm not sure how much of the Giants defense you've seen or known, but let me get your thoughts on that.
I haven't seen too much of it. I know I do remember when the Giants they gave the franchise tag to Leonard Williams, because they traded him from the Jets, right?
Yeah,
the Jets last season. But I know the Giants, like, it's crazy because with their defense, they got a tough task. And I know Logan Ryan, he said it today. You saw that quote where he said you can't simulate a Lamar Jackson. You just can't do it. And if you could, then that person, he needs to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Giants defense, I'm not sure what I expect from them. I'm not sure what I expect from them. What would you say, in your opinion? What's their strongest point on the defense?
Defensive line, without a doubt. And it's funny that we've had a lot of injuries on our outside linebacking core. We're actually down to our fourth and fifth guys on outside linebacking core. Our two starters, they were either injured or we traded away. Like, we traded Marcus Golden back to the Cardinals. And then the backups behind there got injured. And now we're down to our 7th-round picks in Carter Coughlin and Cam Brown starting. That's who's starting on outside linebacker. Like, I just keep thinking to myself, if we didn't have that many injuries, how much better could the defense be? But it's definitely the defensive line to answer your question. Out there manned by Leonard Williams, who right now got 8.5 sacks, tons of pressures. Leonard Williams is absolutely balling out this year. Dalvin Tomlinson, who's having his best year as in terms of pass rushing as a defensive tackle, but at the end of the day, he's a nose tackle and he's closing up run lanes. And Dexter Lawrence, second-year guy out of Clemson, just doing really well things, still grading out as pretty high. Without a doubt, defensive line. And there's a pretty good rotation there that Patrick Graham has had going. He always keeps them fresh. He rotates them with guys like B.J. Hill, who was a 3rd-round pick a couple years back, Austin Johnson, who we picked up from the Colts. Like, he keeps them very fresh. Without a doubt, is the defensive line, man. So, like, I mean, it kind of building right off of that. The best part of this defense is the run defense, which was expected no matter what coming into this year. And the Ravens have the best rushing attack in the NFL. But it's not just because the running backs, it's because, like you said, it's the guy you can't simulate. Lamar as well plays into that rushing attack. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure how we're going to do against that, but I am confident we could hold, or we'll do well against the running backs. It's just Lamar, man. Like, we saw what Kyler Murray did to us a couple weeks ago. Kyler Murray did kill us. We could not contain him, which is weird because we contained Russell Wilson just a week before that. So I have no idea how this defense is going to do against Lamar, but that's kind of my answer to your question.
Yeah, and that's why I asked that, because Ravens, their strongest part of the offense is that run game. When they get that run game going, they are a hard team to stop, man. It's the games where they don't get the run game going, where they don't consistently run, where they find themselves getting a little uncomfortable, and they start doing things that are out of character. But Lamar Jackson, he is obviously the focal point of really the entire offense. Everything goes through him, everything. And if he's rolling, then the whole offense is rolling. So if Giants' strong point is that the defensive line, then Ravens' offensive line, their offensive line this year has seen a lot of different combinations due to people getting injured, due to DJ Fluker having sort of rough year, but then somebody got injured, so he had to get back in again. But I think they'll be up for the task though, man. Because if you can get that run game going, then that can wear out the defensive line. And what I would hope to see, they showed it a little bit last week, would be a bit more of an up-tempo offense from the Ravens. Sort of wear this Giants defense out a little bit, tire them out, all while moving the ball consistently down the field. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, a question for you. the cornerbacks for the Giants. I know you talked about Bradbury earlier. How have the cornerbacks been performing for New York?
You want like overall? Overall, I don't think any Giants fan would say that we've had good performance from the cornerback position. Because if we're talking about just James Bradbury, in my opinion, what he's done this year, he's proven himself as a top 5, top 3 cornerback in the league, especially when it comes man to man. You look at the dudes he went up against and that he completely locked down over the course of the season. Really, his worst game was against Arizona with DeAndre Hopkins, but it's like it's DeAndre Hopkins. You know, like he shut down DK Metcalf. People always point to the highlight where DK stiff-armed him. I'm like, but DK do anything that game? Nah, he didn't. He was shut down. Outside James Bradbury, it's been tough. We got the rookie Darnay Holmes, who was injured now, which is very unfortunate. He was really coming on strong up until his injury. I want to say since about week 8. Darnay Holmes in the slot cornerback position. Shout out to Josh Valencia, by the way. He says, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays up. Thank you, Josh. Dolphins fan, actually. Love this guy. Great support of the channel. Merry Christmas to everybody. But yeah, Darnay Holmes, rookie out of UCLA, was doing real well, but he's a rookie. You know what I'm saying? So he had his struggles in the beginning of the season. Then he got injured. That second outside cornerback position is where the Giants have been struggling all year, and we knew that was going to happen coming into the year because of what happened with DeAndre Baker before the season started. We've been looking for our second outside corner ever since, and teams have definitely looked to use and abuse that part. So, like, if the Ravens want to get something going in the passing game, their best bet is going to be going to that second outside corner or Darnay or the slot corner, because I'm not sure if Darnay Holmes is going to play this game. But as a whole, when you combine all those factors, it's definitely been, subpar in terms of defining it as good performance. But then you consider the context, and I'm just like, it's understandable, completely understandable. Yeah. Stay away from Bradbury, though, because Bradbury is going to be playing back this game. And, I mean, the Ravens, this is no disrespect to any wide receivers on the Ravens, but whoever Bradbury is going to be matched up against, I got faith that he will lock them down. It's going to be a case of our other cornerbacks doing their job.
Okay. So I would expect if does he travel with the number one receiver, or does he just stay on one side?
It depends. Most of the games he has not traveled. But some games where he's matched up against bigger guys or, like well-known receivers, you know what I'm saying, like DK and whatnot. Like, I'm pretty sure he traveled with DK a little bit in Seattle and stuff like that. So it depends all up to what they've game plan for.
Okay. Because Ravens, you don't really have that number one receiver. That we just have a bunch of sort of 2s and 3s. Of course, there's Hollywood Brown. There's Dez Bryant. Sure, he should have some fun playing the Giants. It is Jason Garrett. Okay. I didn't even think about that.
What's happening
with Dez Bryant? Because he's a Raven and Jason Garrett is a Giant. So I'm sure there'll be a little extra motive. I know Jason Garrett isn't Jerry Jones, but still he was there for part of that whole and whatnot.
And do you think Dez is going to play? Because he was on the injury report. I think he had limited practice today.
Yeah, he had a thigh injury, I believe. I think he will. And again, like I said earlier, tomorrow will really tell the story, man. Tomorrow will be where we get more of a clear look at who we expect to play for the Ravens, and I mean, and for the Giants as well. So
I gotta ask you, since you brought up the cornerback, right? You also mentioned Logan Ryan. Our safety play has been a real highlight this year. Safety Logan Ryan at free safety, who I'm very surprised how well he's doing there, considering just a couple months ago he was a slot cornerback, playing really well at free safety. Almost got that Pro Bowl nod. He still led all free safeties in terms of fan voting, but he didn't get it. I'm guessing that means, coaching voting and whatnot, with other factors going to it. And Jabril Peppers having a great year as well for the Giants. That strong safety. I don't know. Do your running backs, when they get to the second level, right? Because this is what I'm looking at right now. I think our safeties could probably stop your running backs, but how are your running backs doing when they get to that second level, past the line, into the middle linebacking and safety territory?
Gus Edwards. If it's anybody one-on-one with Gus Edwards and he gets to the second level, I will go with Gus all day. He's like a Derrick Henry, not on the level of Derrick Henry, but he's like a Derrick Henry, just with less carries and less opportunity. Because Derrick Henry is their workhorse. And again with Derrick Henry, when he gets to that second level, 1-on-1, yeah, that's a big yikes right there. But with Gus Edwards, it can be the same way. And the thing about him is that he's him and J.K. Dobbins. Now the Ravens, before the Ravens would share the wealth with Mark Ingram, with J.K. Dobbins, and with Gus Edwards, but they stopped doing that recently. So Mark Ingram has pretty much been taken out the equation. Even last week, he was a healthy scratch. So it's J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. But once they get to that second level, both of them are strong. I think Gus Edwards is a bit stronger. He's a bit bigger too. But it can be very physical, very, very physical.
That's where Jabril Peppers is a physical guy. I would hope that he gets in there. But before we even get to the second one, now I got to mention Blake Martinez, who, in my opinion, I'm gonna just say it. You could call it Giants bias. He was a Pro Bowl snub this year. Okay. I think he got snubbed by the Pro Bowl. Blake Martinez has been like a complete top 10 middle linebacker this year. Tackling machine as usual. I mean, the guy has led the NFL in his 5-year career 3 or 4 times, led the NFL in tackling out of his 5-year career. He's on pace to break his own personal record, which is amazing considering the job he's been doing for the Giants. And even in pass coverage, he's on pace to have his best year as a pass defender in the middle linebacker position in terms of passes defended, batted down. Blake Martinez has been having an absolute year. So before Gus even gets to that second level, I think he might get stopped by Martinez. But let me hear what you think about that.
Hey, it all depends on the offensive line. It depends on what holes they can open up. And recently they've been doing a pretty good job of that. Jaguars actually did defend the run pretty well, though. They defended Lamar very well for the majority of the game. They defended the running backs very well for the majority of the game too. And but if that offensive line, if they can break some stuff open, that's where everything that's what's most important. And of course, Patrick Ricard, the fullback, a lot is on his plate as well. We're just blowing guys up, giving us a couple of pancakes and whatnot.
Do you guys like running to the inside or to the outside more?
It depends. With Gus Edwards inside, even though he recently he's been running to the outside a little bit more. Well, he'll start off inside, but then he may bounce outside. With J.K. Dobbins, he is more. They usually have him going more to the outside. And with J.K. Dobbins, he has more speed than a Gus Edwards because he has he got that home run speed. He hasn't got to get out in the open yet, or too out in the open. But yeah, he got that home run speed. So yeah, he's more to the outside. Gus is more inside. But they do sometimes I get surprised, but it's a pleasant surprise when Ravens get on the goal line. And a lot of times I'll be thinking, okay, yeah, Gus Edwards, just put out number 35. But they'll have J.K. Dobbins out there on a goal line. And J.K. Dobbins, his run style, his play style, I mean, he wears the same number. It's a lot like Ray Rice. Ray Rice was a running back that was low to the ground. He was quick. He was strong. He could catch out of the backfield. He was a do-it-all type of running back, and that's exactly what J.K. Dobbins is becoming for the Ravens, the running back that will do and can do everything. So I think this year they've been getting him a little more experience in pass protection. So that's been nice. And he's been all right there. Could use a little work there, but that'll come with experience. But he especially as a rookie, yeah, he's definitely been doing his thing. So I'm man, you talking about Blake Martinez and that defensive line got me even more excited for this game now.
It's because I'm gonna tell you what, it's gonna come down to Ravens offense versus Giants defense. So we're gonna lay out all the cards here. The Giants offense, like I said, has not been great. The Giants offense is ranked 31st in the league for a reason. We've been struggling. So this is really gonna come down to like offense versus defense, you know what I'm saying? Unstoppable force, immovable object type of game, which is always exciting to see. It's just that as a Giants fan, I'm like, man, if we can't put up some points, just like against the Browns this past week, we're going to lose. Like, I think the defense did its job against the Browns. The Browns going into that game was scoring like 40 points for 3 weeks straight. We held them to 20. All we need to do was score some points, and they couldn't do that. You know what I mean? So if it comes down to, hey, we hold the Ravens to like 17 to 21, that range of points, it's all on our offense at that point. Like, that's literally what's going to happen, which is why I'm going to ask you now, what's the strongest part of the Ravens defense? What can this Giants offense take advantage of, if anything?
Strongest part of the Ravens defense. Wow. That is a good question right now, because it has been a A lot of up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Um, hmm. I would say them defending the long ball. So it's kind of weird that I would actually give it to their secondary.
Because Marlon Humphrey's been having a good year.
Huh?
Hasn't your secondary been having generally a good year? I thought Marlon Humphrey was doing his thing.
He has been. It can get a little shaky with Marlon Humphrey sometimes, but overall, he's been doing pretty good. He has like 8 forced fumbles, the most ever since Peanut,
Mm-hmm.
Charles Tillman from the Bears, and Marcus Peters. He's been out the last couple of games, but when he's been in, he's been struggling a bit. Jimmy Smith, he's been out the past couple of games. He's been doing pretty good. Our safety play though has been. It's been a little bit shaky. Deshaun Elliott, he's a 3rd-year player, 1st-year starter. Because his first 2 years they both ended on injury reserve.
Mm-hmm.
He's our free safety, but he's more like a fast, strong safety. He got good speed and he can hit. He's not afraid to tackle anybody. They send him on blitzes a lot. But overall, he definitely got some work to do. But again, that should come with experience. Chuck Clark, our strong safety, he's the one with the green dot. He's the one calling the plays and whatnot. This been a rough year for him. It's been a rough year for him. I see Bruno brought it up. He said the run defense has been good as of late. Well, yeah.
Talk about that defensive line then.
See, with the defense, I guess you could say, even with the injuries and all, yeah, the defensive line, as far as run defense, pass rush, but yeah, run defense would probably be the strongest point.
Mm-hmm.
That would make sense.
And the weakest point will be a long ball, so we're gonna need to take a couple deep shots then.
No, they've been actually pretty good defending the long ball.
Oh, that was the strongest point.
It's the defense of the short passes. That's where it's been a struggle.
Have you guys been playing soft zone or anything? Is that why, or is it just?
See, that's been one frustrating thing. Sometimes they'll play zone, sometimes they'll play man, and a lot of times I feel like man works best with them. But with Wink, our defensive coordinator Don Martindale, he actually interviewed for the Giants job last.
He did, yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought he was one of my favorites to get the job actually, and I don't think anybody expected Joe Judge, who, if like to kind of get on this topic real quick, I think he's having a pretty good first year considering what he's doing and everything. I like Joe Judge, and it's kind of funny that this game you got 2 former special team coordinators that went to head coaching positions, made that big jump. That's pretty cool. But yeah.
So yeah, with Wink, he is very aggressive. And he loves to blitz. He loves sending. He's send 5, 6, 7. He'll send everybody if he can. But he loves blitzing. But a lot of times the blitz it doesn't even get there. And then that'll leave somebody open. And I think one of the biggest things with him though, in this game, hopefully he doesn't have to do too much of it. Hopefully that defense will be on point from start to finish. But one of the biggest things I want to see if it needs to be done in this game would be adjustments. Mm-hmm. That's really for defense, offense and defense. But with one thing that I've noticed with this defense is that a lot of times running backs will be wide open coming out of the backfield over and over and over and over and over. And do the Giants run a lot of screens?
Not that much. Oh, I mean, I kind of get annoyed when screen isn't a trick play, but when we do kind of cutesy plays, we've done more wide receiver screens than running back screens, I think, which is kind of weird. Like if I'll tell you real quick about the Giants offense, and then you'll give me how the Ravens defense should plan for it. We're a run first team without a doubt. The running game is the strongest part of our offense without a doubt. Wayne Gallman, in place of Saquon Barkley, has been doing pretty good. He's had a really nice stretch since around week 8 to now. Now last week they did not run the ball a lot. Which, obviously goes to play calling. They could have ran it more. Gallman actually had a pretty good run average when he was out there, in terms of yards per attempt. So if we're going to do anything this game, we need to run the ball, especially if DJ turns out he's not going to play again and we're going to have Colt McCoy at quarterback. The Giants going to need to find a way to run that ball and do it often. And our weaknesses is just in the pass game. It's with everything. Like the Steelers, like I mentioned, they have a lot of drop balls. The Giants were probably not far behind. We've had a lot of drop balls whether it's from Evan Ingram, who's been kind of the whipping boy. I've gotten on Evan Ingram a lot this year because of his mistakes, dropping balls, fumbling the football and whatnot. Our wide receivers as well sometimes just can't hold on to it. And the Giants wide receivers have some of the lowest yards per separation when they go out there on these routes. Separation can be a problem sometimes. When they get open, I would hope the quarterback could get the ball to them, but it seems like sometimes they just don't get open. But running the football is definitely going to have to be what we do. How would the Ravens plan for that? Are you just going to say, hey, man, we're going to go directly for the run, or we're going to go to the struggling passing game and make it even worse?
I think what the Ravens are going to try to do is just try to make the Giants offense one-dimensional. I think they'll just try, and they know. I mean, they watch film and all that. So I think they'll really just try to take out the run game early. And that's why it's so important for both sides of the ball to play well. Because if the defense can play strong and stop the Giants early, and the offense can play strong and score points, then that can make the Giants force them to be even more one-dimensional. And then the cornerbacks, the pass rush, they can all take advantage. So we'll just see what happens. But, yeah, I do think the Ravens, their number one goal. And Calais Campbell, he said it before the season even started. He said the first thing we want to do in every game, stop the run. Stop the run. But when a team, usually, not every single time, but when a team, when they have to go to their backup quarterback, that makes them a lot more uncomfortable than comfortable, because your starter was your starter for a reason. And when you have to go to your backup quarterback, when it's not somebody like that's a rookie that you drafted for the future, when it's just a backup quarterback who's there temporarily, you don't want to go to him. But if you're forced to go to him, then usually teams will want to run the ball a lot more. They can establish the run a lot more, so they can try to get their quarterback a lot more comfortable. Now, Colt McCoy, he's obviously no rookie, anything like that. He's been around the league for a while. He played for the Browns. He played for Washington. Played for the Giants. Who else did he play for?
I feel like there's another team in there, but those are the three big ones that come to mind.
Yeah. So he's been there for a while, man. But I do think that the Ravens are gonna really want to put the game on him, or if it's on Daniel Jones, whoever it may be. But if it's Colt McCoy, I think whoever the quarterback is, I think they're gonna really want to force that quarterback to just have to throw to try to catch up. But I think they're gonna try to take out that run game first and foremost.
Now, if Daniel Jones does play, and let's say for the sake of this discussion right now that he's fully healthy, I think people underrate Daniel Jones' running ability. I mean, he's a fast guy. He's he even clocked out faster than Lamar. The only person that was faster than him recorded this season was Tyreek Hill, when DJ almost hit 22 miles an hour on that 80-yard run against the Eagles. How do the Ravens? Do you think they can plan for that? For this, once again, sake of discussion, if he's fully healthy, I know for a fact the Giants are going to try and use his legs. Does that worry you at all?
I mean, I think they will be a fool not to. And even for him too, if he sees everything's covered up, then take off. Because those are some of the plays that they make it so hard to defend, especially if you don't have a spy on the quarterback, and you could be playing good defense, like, oh yeah, we got it covered. Okay, we're good to go. And the quarterback takes off, that can kill you, man. Especially on those third downs too. On them third downs when you about to get a big stop and they take off. But yeah, if Daniel Jones is healthy, then I would expect him to use his legs, and that would worry me a bit if the Ravens if they got caught slipping. I would hope that they would put a spy on it, just try to contain that. But then if you try to contain that, then that could possibly that eliminates a defender from covering somebody on the back end or watching a running back or whatnot. So we'll see. We'll see. But I definitely do expect, if Daniel Jones does play, I would expect him to try to take off a lot.
And to answer Daquan's answer, we don't know yet. That's why I was like, for the sake of discussion, if he is and if he's healthy, because they could do what they did with the Cardinals. He could play, but he could not be fully healthy. Like, he could be healthy enough to just play. That doesn't mean he's going to use his legs, which is what we saw first half against the Cardinals here. So I got to ask you now, kind of leads directly in, when Lamar has struggled this year and when he's played against teams that, for the better part, kind of either made him struggle or shut him down, what have those teams done? So what do the Giants have to do to help shut down Lamar in this offense?
Make them one-dimensional. That would be the biggest thing. If the Giants, if they could take away the Ravens' run game and really just force them to just strictly pass and that's it. I think that would be a big part of it. And it's not that Lamar can't pass. Lamar can make all the throws.
I think
But
it also goes back to what you were saying about your wide receivers.
yeah, because they it's like I say, yeah, a lot of 2s and 3s at wide receiver. Not a true number one. The only receiver that we have that's ever been a true number one is Dez Bryant. So that'd be nice if this game he could keep stepping up.
What works up some old magic from 2014 when he goes up against the Giants.
I wouldn't be mad at that at all, man. I wouldn't be mad at that at all. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, if they took away the run game and
That's a run game that includes Lamar, not just the running backs.
If they took away the run game and they took away those run plays from Lamar too, that would be the biggest thing. And yeah, I think if they really disrupted the wide receivers too, if they really played up on the wide receivers and were physical with the wide receivers, I think that would make
Mark Andrews.
Yeah, Mark Andrews too. Because one thing about Lamar, this season, one thing that he's done a lot of, as opposed to last season and as opposed to early throughout this season, lately he's been spreading the ball out a lot more, a whole lot more. Because before, with Lamar Jackson, the main people that he was looking at was Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. So he would be looking at those two all the time. They would be the ones catching all the passes, and everybody else would get theirs here and there. But those were the two guys. And if you took those two guys out, then it would be a struggle. But now, ever since Hollywood, he had tweeted about Lamar and tweeted about the offense not using all their weapons. Ever since then, Lamar.
What do you think about that? You're for that, the wide receiver or players in general calling out something that the coaching staff is not doing, or do you feel like keep it in house?
You should keep it in house. You never want to look like one of those organizations that doesn't have stuff under control. So they should have kept that in house. It wasn't the worst thing that he could have tweeted, but it probably would have been best if he could have just addressed Lamar. He could have just addressed Greg Roman. He could have addressed Harbaugh. And you can tell that is something that they know it should have been kept in house because Harbaugh said he told him to delete it. And Hollywood deleted it, but the internet never forgets. Once it goes up on the internet, it's there forever. And you can't take it down. I mean, you can't take it back. You can try to take it down, but somebody got it. Somebody got it. Especially if you got a check mark next to your name, somebody screenshotted that, and so it's gonna be there forever. But yeah, Lamar, with him spreading the ball out, him spreading the ball around a lot more than he had before, that has helped this offense so much. It's helped him. It's helped the offense. It has just made such a big difference. So I'm looking forward to him continuing that and just seeing that much more, because when you spread the ball around, it makes everybody a legitimate threat. Because before, if it was just Hollywood, if it was just Mark Andrews, and people were covering them, they're like, okay, we got them. Oh, we straight. We ain't got to worry about anybody else. But now you're slowly having to worry about other people. And I think a big reason for that was Dez Bryant. Because Dez Bryant, he came on the scene. They signed him to the practice squad. And ever since then, like, things had been getting a little bit better week in and week out for the Ravens wide receivers. They ain't been like putting on all these crazy numbers, anything like that. But for them, for what the expectation is in Baltimore for the receivers, they've been doing a lot better than the norm.
The Giants right now, you said the Ravens have a lot of number 2s and number 3s. Giants wide receiving core is much of the same. In addition to having the drop season, not getting separation, I think a good amount of that stems from we don't have a true number 1. Darius Slayton last year, when he was a rookie, kind of burst onto the scene, really looked like he had that potential to be a number 1. As as time went on in the offseason, more and more fans went back and looked at the film and whatnot. People realized maybe it was just because teams didn't really have a good look on him, and now they do. Maybe he's more of a number 2. Kind of what he's looking like this year. We have a bunch of number 2s in my opinion. Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, who's a really good route runner, but still probably number 2 receiver. Golden Tate, veteran, number 2 receiver now at this point in his career. It's kind of defaulted that Evan Ingram, who has the most of our mistakes, has been our most targeted player, but it's because of the stuff I mentioned with the receivers, and also because Jason Garrett, well, he likes his tight ends. You know what I mean? And so it's been a mixture of things. But with the Giants, and shout out to Tudo Azor. Thank you so much, man, for the $5 super chat. He says, "How's my main man Hub? Merry Christmas, buddy." Thank you, Tudo. Merry Christmas to you. Hope you and your family are safe, man. With the Giants, it's kind of the same thing. If you could just make that passing game and the weapons even worse than they are, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. We're gonna see. I know my guy Bruno mentioned earlier that the Ravens have been struggling when it comes to covering the slot receiver. Because the Ravens right now, they just don't really have a slot corner. They had one in Tavon Young, but he's on injury reserve. And injury reserve for the season. He's been out since week 2. Yeah. Well, he went out when we played the Texans in week 2.
So who you got right now guarding that slot?
They put Marlon Humphrey in the slot. And Marlon Humphrey, that's our number one corner, but they put him in the slot because he's our best option there. So that takes him from the outside and puts him in. And sometimes they do still get some opportunities to put him in the outside too. But he's our main slot corner right now, man.
So then I gotta ask you then, if Marlon Humphrey's gonna be inside, I would assume the Giants would have Sterling Shepard. They rotate him and Tate because they're both slot receivers. They rotate them on the inside there. That is something that would be a good matchup, especially if it's Shepard versus Humphrey. I think Shepard has a chance to win out, but if it's Tate, old man, veteran Tate, I think Humphrey definitely has the advantage there. That means on the outside, whether it's Darius Slayton or somebody else, who's on that outside to be guarding Darius Slayton? Because he's really our one of our only deep threats.
Well, it would be Marcus Peters, but he isn't healthy right now. We'll see if he plays. Then it would be Jimmy Smith, but he isn't healthy right now, so we'll see if he plays. So it's going right now based off of health. What's up, Big Simp? Based off of health.
You said Big Simp. I was like, yo, a Big Simp in here?
It would be Anthony Averett. Or Devontae Harris. He's on injured reserve too. So yeah, it'll be Anthony Averett.
How fast is he?
Terrell Bonds. So yeah, it's been Tremont Williams, 37-year-old Tremont Williams, and he hasn't been playing bad.
And Bruno just brought up Tremont Williams as well.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I see it, man. What's up, Short? But so yeah, we after our top 3 corners, and 2 of our top 3 corners are hurt, then it gets pretty shaky. So they're gonna
be that safety help over the top with a deep pass.
Like that's like I said earlier, that's one thing too with the Ravens. Even though the secondary play, even with the injuries, even with the shaky safety play, one thing that they have definitely improved on throughout this season is not giving up the deep ball. And they have and I got to give kudos to Wink for that. I got to give kudos to him because despite all the injuries, despite whatever team they play, whatever quarterback, whatever offense they went against, that is one thing that they do a very, very good job at, and that's not giving up the deep ball.
That's why this man was, interviewing for head coaching jobs. He has the potential to be a future head coach. And I got to give props to my guy, Patrick Graham, as well, because like I mentioned earlier, we got so many injuries at outside linebacker. We had a ton of injuries at that second middle linebacker position. At cornerback, it's not injuries, it's just a lack of talent. We just haven't had any guys there, and he still managed to make a pretty respectable defense for the Giants here, even in the worst case scenario this Sunday for the Giants, which is we get a blowout loss against the Ravens. I still think you look at that defense and say, man, this guy is really scheming up something here that really, with the talent on the field, did not expect him to scheme up. Like Patrick Graham, I'm honestly scared that he might leave this offseason and get a better, job, whether it's another, being another defensive coordinator somewhere else, or even if he makes that leap to head coach, whatever the case is. I hope we keep this man here, man. So I got to say, or I got to ask you, or rather, with Wayne Gallman here, I mentioned him earlier, who's the best matchup on the Ravens defensive side of the ball to keep Wayne Gallman in check? Because the Giants offensive line has been improving a little bit as well. I think we had a good game offensive line wise last week. It's just we couldn't capitalize in the red zone.
Well, first and foremost, the defensive line. But if we're talking about on the linebacker level, I would say a good mix of Patrick Queen, our rookie linebacker from LSU, and LJ Fort.
I wanted Patrick Queen too.
Oh, you did?
I was praying he either the Giants either somehow got him in the first, or for some reason he dropped into the second, which I knew wasn't going to happen. But I wanted Patrick Queen. I thought he would have been a nice inside linebacker for us.
Yeah, he's been pretty good, man. He's fast. The Ravens take him out a lot on third down. Because I guess they just don't trust him all the way yet, but that'll come with time. He is like super young. I think like 21 years old. But anyway, I would say yeah, Patrick Queen, LJ Fort. Patrick Queen, because he sometimes he can diagnose plays pretty good. Sometimes he can be a little bit lost, but that's
he's a rookie, so he got a lot of time to improve.
Exactly. So yeah, it ain't nothing to worry about long term, anything like that. If this was happening like 2 years or 3 years from now, then it'd be a little bit concerning. But right now, it ain't nothing that's too bad. But that's why I also say LJ Fort. And with LJ,
tell me a little bit about him, because I actually haven't heard that name before.
He is this is his second year with the Ravens, and he came on board last year after week 4. So yeah, we got him around like week 5, I believe. And I didn't know anything about LJ Fort at all. I'm like, LJ Fort, who is that? And the first thing that I saw when I looked him up, a lot of people were like, oh man, that's the guy who when the Ravens and the Eagles had a joint practice, Lamar Jackson shook him on the sidelines and made him fall. I was like, oh, okay, well, welcome aboard. But with LJ Fort, my guy, Carlo Iron Addict, he was just in here. I'm not sure if he still is, but he had let me know about LJ Fort. And one of the things that he told me about LJ Fort was just how smart this guy was. And I was like, okay, he got smart. So all right, we'll see. But then I watched him. I watched him play, and I fell in love with his game. And I was so happy when the Ravens gave him a 1-year contract extension last season to be signed for this season, because I was like, yes, we got LJ Fort. And the guy's mental part of the game is just it's almost crazy, man. He's a very smart linebacker. And where he lacks as far as athleticism, which isn't too bad. He's definitely not as athletic as a Patrick Queen. I mean, it's a young guy, and LJ Fort's like 31, I want to say. But where he lacks athletically, he definitely makes up for it with the mental part of the game. So that's why I would say for your running back, it'll be a combination of both Patrick Queen and LJ Fort.
LJ Fort, when you're talking about, it kind of reminds me of our. Well, we don't really have a set second middle linebacker right now. It's a rotation, but the guy I like a lot, and a lot of Giants fans, he gets a good amount of snaps there, is Tay Crowder. He was the Mr. Irrelevant pick out of the 2020 draft, the very last pick. What was that? I forgot what number pick that is. And Tay Crowder's been doing well when he gets in there, man. As Mr. Irrelevant, he got a sack strip fumble for the house in his first game. I mean, his second game. His first game almost got an interception. He's been playing really well out there. Small, agile guy. He's also, I think he was a former running back at Georgia, so I think that helps with his agility and how fast he can move. Yeah. But Tay Crowder is somebody I would love to see how he performs against this Ravens offense here, especially against somebody like a J.K. Dobbins. I think they would probably match up well. Of course, Blake probably has that job first, but somebody look out for, man. Mr. Irrelevant. I didn't think I'd ever say I like watching a Mr. Irrelevant pick play, but he does good considering where he was picked over there. And I got to say, you mentioned that the Ravens, in terms of pass rush, it's not where they want to be. But the thing is, the Ravens, they have 33 sacks right now, I think, which is middle of the pack in the league. Let me pull this up real quick. Where are the Ravens in terms of sacks? So, yeah, I think they got 33. They got 134 pressures, which actually, pressure-wise, you guys are within the top 15. Sack-wise, yeah, it's like middle of the league. Where do you want to be? Because it's not like that's terrible.
No. The pass rush hasn't been terrible. It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been terrible. I think it's one of those things where, yeah, they're getting pressure, but sometimes, but they're not finishing. They'll be, and the main guys who are getting like right there is Yannick Ngakoue. I saw somebody ask earlier in the chat, like, who's the Ravens' best pass rusher? And I will say Yannick Ngakoue and Tyus Bowser. Tyus Bowser is a very, very
That's a name I've heard.
like
Tell me a little about him.
Tyus Bowser. This is the final year of his contract. So it's money time. It's time to cash out. Whether that be with the Ravens or be somewhere else. But Tyus Bowser is a guy who is a very versatile pass rusher because he's not just a pass rusher. He can drop back as well. And he does a good job, of course. Again, credit to Wink Martindale. But Tyus Bowser does a good job sometimes disguising if he's blitzing or not. But because and that's how he's gotten 2 interceptions this year, and it was off of the same exact defensive play. One was against Ryan Tannehill, and the other one was against Baker Mayfield. And he'll look like he's about to pass rush, but then at the last second he'll drop back, and then Tannehill and Baker Mayfield both, I guess they didn't think he was going to be there, but they threw that pass, and Tyus Bowser picked it off. But he got some nice speed too at the pass rush position or at outside linebacker. But I
see somebody asking Judon with 2 question marks here.
Let me see who said that. Oh, Tensei. But Judon's not the Ravens' best pass rusher. He's a valuable player to them, but he's not their best pass rusher. Because Judon is also somebody that they move around a lot. They have him doing a lot of different things. So, excuse me, he doesn't just pass rush. He'll drop back too. They'll have him rush from the outside. They'll move him on the inside too, have him rush from there as well. So yeah, they do a lot with Judon too. That's why I think with Judon, when he was out, we definitely missed him for that one game because it takes away from what the defense does because you have less weapons to play with. Oh, throwback.
Joseph, Giants fan. Yeah, I don't want this game to be looking like Super Bowl 35 out there where the Ravens absolutely just mopped the Giants all over the field. But, I mean, unless you got any other questions, Engraven, for me, I'm going to call it a night here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Engraven, any other questions, man?
Who do you think wins?
Oh, you want me to be honest?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win. I mean, right now, where the 2 teams are at, Ravens are looking to make that playoff push. They're extremely hungry. The Giants also technically are looking to make a playoff push, but the Ravens are, I think they're just a better team right now, which is not exactly something blasphemous to say as a Giants fan. I think that's just a fact. I think they could come in. Well, actually, we're going into you guys' house. It's your last home game of the year. It's going to be very difficult to win over there considering everything. Now, any given Sunday is what I'm praying for. You know, any given Sunday, something can happen. Maybe the Giants pull out an upset. But if I'm going to be realistic, I do think the Ravens win. I think our defense keeps it close for as long as they can before our offense fails us. I think that's what might happen right there.
Yeah. I was just laughing at Jaden's comment. He said it's a Ravens-Giants skit coming up now.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a Ravens-Giants skit coming up. I'm probably going to throw in a Super Bowl 35 joke in that one when I make it.
Yeah, but I see the Ravens taking care of business too. Like you said, it is any given Sunday. I think this is like, I would say that this is definitely a trap game. Not the worst type of trap game, but I think it is a trap game where obviously Ravens they're a better team than the Giants. And the Giants, they've been struggling this year. They're not out of it by any means.
Just because of how the NFC East is.
Yeah. So but I do think this is a trap game. So I don't want to see Ravens underestimate the Giants at all.
Have you guys ever played down to competition this year?
Yes, but under Lamar, the Ravens, they haven't fallen for the trap games. They haven't, and I'm glad that they haven't, and I would love to keep it that way. But yeah, they haven't fallen to the trap games. I know the closest that because they did lose to the Patriots. Patriots had a losing record, but at the same time, Patriots are the Patriots. That's Bill Belichick, it's Cam Newton, and it was
that was earlier in the season, right?
Yeah, it was in that monsoon game on Sunday Night Football. But with the Patriots, I know in the games before they played the Ravens, it wasn't like this was a team that was getting blown out every week. They were in all of their games. They were right there. But yeah, so Ravens, they haven't fallen for the trap game since Lamar's been their starting quarterback. So I expect them to still take care of business in this game.
Is there any chance we got a signing of Trace McSorley this game?
No, he's on injured reserve. So
he's on IR?
Mm-hmm. Early, it would make me very, very, very happy And this is what I expected to happen in the last game against the Jaguars, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
Was to see if we could see Tyler Huntley, the Ravens undrafted rookie free agent quarterback from Utah, because that will mean that the Ravens took care of business, and they were up big, and the game was over early on in the fourth, and we did get to see him, and he had some fun out there against the Jaguars. So I would love to see that this week too, just to save all the stress levels that we as Ravens fans we have plenty of. But what the biggest thing that I hope for is that we can go into this game knowing that the Dolphins lost on Saturday. That would be really great. But we'll see what happens, man.
Exactly. That's gonna be it for today, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, man. Shout out to everybody in here. We had at one point almost 70 people watching, 56 right now. Jaden Dawkins, Daquan, Hamza, Cooper Gaming, Joseph Balby, Ryan. Thank you all for tuning in. Kyrie Brown, Zachary, Edward Chan, Bruno, Connex, Harrison, and many, many more who I want to scroll them up. I can't see it right now. Oh, shout out to Calvin in here. Cardinals fan and members alert. He said, good luck, guys. Hopefully GJ is back and healthy. Merry Christmas. Yup. Merry Christmas to all y'all. Happy holidays to all of y'all. Hope you guys have a safe, healthy, and fun Christmas, man. That's it for now. Check out Engraven. I have both his Twitter and YouTube link down below. And we're out. Peace.
Appreciate it.